Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Feel your body relax. Feel your awareness settle into this very moment. Because what you are about to hear will challenge everything you've been taught about communication, validation, and peace. You've spent years trying to explain yourself, trying to make others understand your heart, your choices, your silence. But here is the truth: not everyone can see beyond their illusion. Some people are too blinded by their own fears to recognize your light. This message is not about them. It's about reclaiming your peace and walking in truth without explanation. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose and exhale gently through your mouth. Feel your body. Feel your presence in this moment. Leave behind the noise of the world. Leave behind the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others. Today we speak about one of the most misunderstood truths of life: why you must stop explaining yourself to people trapped in illusion. Part 1. The moment you try to explain yourself to those who cannot see beyond their own limitations, you lose energy. You may not notice it instantly, but every time you try to justify your choices to those who do not understand your path, a part of your inner peace drifts away. People trapped in illusion live through filters. They do not see you as you are. They see you as their mind allows them to. And the mind that is clouded by judgment, comparison, and fear will never understand purity of intention. When you try to explain truth to someone living in illusion, it is like trying to describe sunlight to someone who has lived their entire life in darkness. They may hear your words, but they cannot feel the warmth. They will analyze your tone, question your motives, and twist your meaning, not out of malice, but because their perception is distorted. They do not want truth. They want comfort. Illusion is comforting because it keeps them safe from change. Truth is painful because it demands transformation, and transformation is something many fear. So they cling to their illusion and resist anything that threatens it, including your growth. In trying to make them see, you end up carrying the burden of their blindness, and that is how you lose yourself. You are not meant to explain your purpose to every person who crosses your path. You are not here to make the blind see, nor to make the sleeping awake. You are here to live your truth fully and silently. When your energy is pure, your actions will speak louder than any explanation ever could. But when you waste that energy on convincing others, you drain yourself until you begin to question your own clarity. People trapped in illusion do not seek understanding. They seek validation of their version of reality. So no matter how sincerely you speak, they will twist your words until they fit their comfort zone. And then they will judge you for being different, for not fitting into their expectations. You cannot heal illusion by fighting it. Illusion dissolves only in the presence of awareness, and awareness grows only in silence. Mastery begins when you realize this truth. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Some minds are too small to hold the weight of your truth, and that is not arrogance, it is understanding. Your path is your own. You do not owe your light to those who choose to stay in the dark. The greatest act of compassion is not to explain yourself endlessly, but to respect another's stage of awakening. Let them believe what they must. Their illusion is their teacher. When you stop explaining yourself, you begin to walk freely. You begin to act from peace rather than fear. You begin to trust your own awareness more than the opinions of others. That is where inner power is born, not in convincing the world, but in being anchored in your truth, even when the world misunderstands you. A person trapped in illusion cannot recognize freedom because illusion is their comfort. It is a familiar cage built from beliefs, fears, and past experiences. They have lived so long within the walls of that illusion that they mistake those walls for safety. When you show them the door to freedom, they do not thank you. They fear you. Because to them, truth is dangerous. It threatens everything they have built their identity upon. When you speak from awareness, they will misunderstand your silence as arrogance. When you act from peace, they will think you are emotionless. When you choose solitude, they will call you lonely. But the awakened one knows none of these labels carry truth. They are only reflections of minds that cannot yet see beyond the fog of illusion. The greatest challenge for an awakened mind is not darkness, it is the misunderstanding of others. Because those still asleep will try to pull you back into their dream. They will ask you to explain your calmness, your detachment, your choices. They will not understand why you no longer react, why you no longer chase approval, why you seem unmoved by chaos. And when you try to explain, they will not hear you. Because explanation is for the mind, and the mind is what blinds them. Illusion lives in thought. It survives through endless reasoning and noise. Awareness lives in silence. It needs no justification. When you truly understand this, you stop wasting energy on trying to make others understand what can only be experienced through consciousness. A person trapped in illusion does not want truth. They want validation of the illusion itself. They want to hear that their fears are justified, their anger is righteous, their judgments are correct. When you refuse to play that game, you become the enemy in their story. But do not fear this. Rejection by the blind is confirmation of your vision. You cannot awaken another soul by arguing with their dream. You cannot shake someone awake who still finds comfort in sleep. You awaken them by being awake yourself. Your silence teaches more than your words ever could. Your peace becomes a mirror in which others may one day see their own restlessness reflected. The path of awareness is often a lonely one, because truth does not shout, it whispers. It does not demand attention, it simply is. You must learn to walk this path without seeking recognition, without trying to prove your purity to those who cannot see it. Because explanation is noise, and noise feeds illusion. Only stillness dissolves it. So let your stillness be the answer. When people question your choices, smile. When they doubt your peace, remain silent. When they misunderstand your detachment, send them compassion in your heart. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your evolution. Your growth is sacred. It is between you and the universe. Every explanation you give takes you a step back into illusion. Every silence you hold brings you closer to truth. The master does not convince the world that he is awake. He simply is. And through his being, others find the courage to awaken too. That is how awareness spreads. Not through argument, but through example. Not through explanation, but through presence. In life, you will meet people who project their fears onto you. They will question your motives, judge your intentions, and doubt your every move. Not because they truly see you, but because they cannot see beyond themselves. Their perception of you is merely a reflection of their own insecurities, their own limitations, their own inner conflict. You could act with the purest heart and still be misunderstood. You could speak truthfully and still be called deceptive. You could choose peace and still be accused of being distant. That is the nature of illusion. It makes the blind believe they see clearly and the asleep believe they are awake. Do not fight them. Do not argue. Do not let their misunderstanding disturb your stillness. For when you try to convince them, you descend to their level of confusion, and in doing so, you lose your own clarity. Master HENG often says, "The one who reacts becomes the slave of the one who provokes." People trapped in illusion thrive on reaction. It feeds their sense of importance. It reinforces their illusion of control. When you respond with silence, you take back your power. When you no longer need to defend yourself, you become free. Because only the ego feels the need to defend, awareness simply observes. When you argue with the blind about what you see, you do not help them. You only exhaust yourself. The wise know that silence is not weakness, it is strength under control. You are not required to explain truth to those who cannot see it. You are not here to fix everyone's perception of you. You are here to live truthfully, to walk with integrity, and to let your actions be your explanation. Your silence becomes your message, your peace becomes your defense, and your consistency becomes your proof. Remember this: the loudest noise often comes from the emptiest vessels. Do not lower your vibration to meet them where they stand. Stand firm in your stillness and allow them to reveal themselves. Those who misunderstand you are offering you a gift. They are showing you where you still seek validation, the areas where your ego still wants to be understood. When you let go of that desire to be understood, you experience a freedom few ever taste. The awakened one is never concerned with how others perceive him, because he knows perception is illusion. The only truth that matters is the awareness of self. The more you explain yourself to those who cannot see, the more you drain your life force. Explanation feeds misunderstanding, because those trapped in illusion do not listen to understand. They listen to defend their own stories. And you cannot win that battle, because it was never meant to be fought. Your peace is not found in convincing others, it is found in remaining unmoved by their confusion. You rise above not by speaking louder, but by walking quieter. Your silence speaks in a language only awareness can hear. So when they talk, listen in peace. When they misunderstand, smile in stillness. When they attack, respond with compassion. For the moment you stop reacting, you transcend their illusion. You become the mirror in which they see their own blindness. And slowly, silently, that is how transformation begins. Not through words, but through presence. Not through explanation, but through embodiment of truth. The more you evolve, the quieter you become. Not because you have less to say, but because you begin to realize that most words are wasted on ears that cannot truly hear. When awareness deepens, you start to see how much of the world lives through noise. Constant talking, constant explaining, constant justifying. But the awakened one learns that silence holds more truth than 1,000 explanations ever could. Because silence carries energy, and that energy is pure presence. It is not empty, it is full of understanding. When you stop explaining yourself, you begin to value your energy. You start to guard your peace with the same care you once gave to the opinions of others. You learn that not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone has earned the right to understand your journey. There comes a point in spiritual growth where you realize that validation is a cage. The moment you seek approval, you give away your power. And the moment you stop seeking it, you become limitless. See, those who misunderstand your silence are still bound by their need to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged. But the one who walks with awareness does not need the world to witness their truth. They are content simply knowing it. The wise do not argue with illusion because they know illusion feeds on attention. The more you try to explain, the stronger illusion becomes. But when you choose stillness, the illusion begins to dissolve, because it has nothing to feed on. Silence is not avoidance. It is mastery. It is the language of the soul, the echo of the unseen. When you act from silence, you act from alignment. You no longer move to please others. You move because your inner compass guides you. You no longer explain your intentions. Your actions themselves become the explanation. And even when the world misunderstands you, there is peace, because you no longer depend on their understanding to feel whole. Those who truly see you will understand without words. They will feel your energy. They will sense your intention. They will know your truth because their awareness matches yours. But those still bound by illusion will never see clearly until they choose to awaken. And that is not your responsibility. Your role is not to pull others out of darkness, but to remain the light that guides them when they are ready to step into it. Even if no one recognizes your efforts, even if your silence is mistaken for pride, do not change your path for their comfort. True strength is remaining centered when misunderstood. True maturity is staying kind even when misjudged. True mastery is speaking less and understanding more. So remain calm, remain rooted, remain firm in your truth. For every time you choose silence over reaction, you grow stronger. Every time you choose peace over proving, you rise higher. And every time you choose awareness over approval, you step closer to freedom. The awakened soul no longer lives for recognition. It lives for realization. The quieter you become, the clearer life becomes. And in that clarity, you will see that explanation was never needed, only understanding. And understanding comes not from words, but from awareness. Stop explaining yourself, and you will reclaim your energy. Stop defending your truth, and you will find peace. Stop justifying your decisions, and you will feel the freedom of being. Real strength is not found in proving yourself to others, it is found in knowing yourself deeply. When you live with awareness, you understand that truth needs no audience. It shines on its own, even in silence. Master SHI once said, "The more you speak, the further you drift from the essence. And that essence is your inner stillness, the state where nothing external has power over your peace." The moment you stop explaining yourself, you take back the energy you have been scattering through words and reasoning. You begin to realize that your worth does not require explanation, that your peace does not depend on validation, and that your growth does not need applause. The world may never fully understand you, because most people see through the eyes of illusion. They see through ego, through conditioning, through fear. When you speak truth, they may laugh. When you live truth, they may judge. But that judgment only reflects their distance from their own awareness. You must learn to walk through misunderstanding without letting it touch your spirit. When people question your silence, do not rush to fill it with words. When they misread your distance, do not feel guilty for protecting your peace. Because every soul moves at its own pace, and not everyone is ready to meet you where awareness lives. The one who is awake walks differently. He is not in a hurry. He does not argue. He observes. He acts when necessary and retreats when not. Because he knows that truth does not fight. It simply exists. When you stop explaining yourself, you begin to live in harmony with what is. You realize that those who truly see you need no explanation, and those who demand it will never understand it. You start to live not for perception, but for alignment. And alignment is a quiet place. It does not shout, it does not prove, it simply radiates. You may lose people along the way, but what you will gain is far greater. You will gain yourself. You will gain your freedom, clarity, and calmness. You will stop being pulled by the tides of opinion and learn to move with the rhythm of awareness. People trapped in illusion need constant confirmation because they fear uncertainty. The awakened one embraces uncertainty because he trusts life. He does not seek to be understood, he seeks to understand. And in that seeking, he finds peace. Stop trying to convince others of your truth. Live it. Let your silence speak for you. Let your presence carry your message. Let your actions reflect your awareness. The universe does not explain its beauty. It simply exists in perfect order, and so should you. Walk your path quietly, confidently, and with compassion. Some will misunderstand you, some will resist you, but none of that matters when you live in truth. The need to explain is born from insecurity. The ability to remain silent is born from mastery. The moment you no longer need to explain yourself, you realize you were never misunderstood by those who truly see. You were only hidden from those still lost in illusion. So remain silent, remain aware, and let your peace be the loudest sound in the room. When you stop explaining yourself to people trapped in illusion, you begin to see how much of your life was spent trying to be understood by those who were never meant to understand you. You realize that many of your struggles were not caused by life itself, but by your resistance to being misunderstood. You wanted to be seen as good, as right, as kind. You wanted people to see your heart, the purity of your intentions, the truth behind your silence. But illusion blinds people, and you cannot make the blind see by speaking louder. They must open their eyes when they are ready. And that readiness comes not from your explanations, but from their own awakening. So let them think what they must. Let them judge. Let them assume. Let them misunderstand. Because when you no longer fight for understanding, you enter a deeper dimension of peace, the peace that comes from inner knowing. Not the knowing that says they finally get me, but the knowing that whispers, I no longer need them to. That is true freedom. To live in such alignment with your soul that misunderstanding no longer shakes you. That no opinion can disturb your stillness. That no false story can move your truth. When you reach that point, you understand what it truly means to walk the path of awareness. Because awareness is not about proving enlightenment, it is about embodying it in every breath, in every action, in every silence. When you stop explaining yourself, you become the observer instead of the performer. You no longer move to impress or defend. You move because consciousness guides you. You realize that energy flows where attention goes, and so you choose to direct your attention inward, to nurture peace instead of arguments, to feed growth instead of illusion. You become like a mountain, silent, strong, unmoving, even as winds of misunderstanding howl around you. You watch people's words like clouds passing by, temporary, shapeless, unimportant, and still you remain centered. For what is illusion to the mountain? What is noise to the ocean? They continue to exist, untouched by the chaos above their surface. You too must live this way. The more awakened you become, the more alone you may feel. But this aloneness is sacred. It is not isolation, it is purity of space, where the soul finally breathes without the weight of others' expectations. The world may call your silence pride. Their ego may label your calmness as coldness. But truth needs no labels. The awakened one smiles because he knows illusion speaks only to itself. And when he walks, he carries peace, not as an idea, but as his very presence. Stop explaining yourself to those who only listen to respond. Stop defending your light to those who find comfort in darkness. Simply shine. Because the sun never apologizes for rising. And just as the sun rises without explanation, you too must rise without permission. Let your awareness speak through the way you live, not through the words you use. The wise one does not argue with illusion. He transcends it through understanding. So walk in silence, move in awareness, and live in truth. For when you no longer need to explain, you have finally awakened beyond illusion. You have become what the world cannot define, a free soul.